worry about that. All right. So you got take two. Okay, please share. I stopped it soon as I seen something was wrong. Lost connection. So you got take two. Alright. There we go. Don't know what happened. Please share. Let's see. Alright, let's see here. I will continue. Welcome back, everybody who has rejoined. I have no idea what happened. Hold on a second, just please. Alright, I lost connection. I have no freaking idea why. I'll move this
Become
back.
the biggest oil producer in the world
There
right
we
now,
go.
by far. Not even a contest. We're bigger than Russia, bigger than Saudi Arabia, and to a level that nobody can believe. And I saved the industry 6-7 months ago. When our oil dropped because of the pandemic, I got Russia and Saudi Arabia together. You know, it's good to get along with countries. Not necessarily a bad thing, Rush. You know, you understand that. And they cut 10 million barrels a day. It's actually more than that, but they cut, and we saved the oil. We saved 10 million jobs in this country, and yet everybody has cheap gasoline. Look at the gasoline at $2 a gallon. Nobody thought that would be possible. That's better than a tax cut. So, you know, if you want to know the truth, when gas used to go up to $5, $6, and people would say, "Oh, our country," and they couldn't buy cars, they couldn't do anything. We have very inexpensive gasoline, and yet it's high enough that we have our energy jobs. We have millions and millions of energy jobs in Texas and North Dakota and Oklahoma and Pennsylvania. So Biden goes, and you notice they never talk about fracking. So he said no fracking, and he's in Pennsylvania.
They're going to ban it.
Yeah, and
Just like they're going to stack the court. They will not confirm. You know what you ought to tell Amy Coney Barrett? That she's not going to answer any questions about how she'll rule until after she's confirmed.
No, I know. It's incredible what he said yesterday. I couldn't believe it. And that's such a big thing. But think of it. He's in Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania is a big, big fracking thing. It's 1 million jobs. It's tremendous energy. They have low energy costs.
And they won't admit what they're going to do. And they won't.
No, but he said just the opposite. He said there'll be no fracking. And then once he gets to Pennsylvania, he said, no, there'll be fracking. I couldn't get away with that. Nobody could get away with that. But they let him. They don't even ask him a question about fracking. I mean, they don't say to him, well, wait a minute, you said you won't frack, and now you're saying you're going to frack. Because if Pennsylvania believed that, they couldn't vote for him because he'd put Pennsylvania out of business, along with Ohio and other places.
Exactly. Let's go to another Biden soundbite. This is from May of this year. He was on a radio program called The Breakfast Club with my old buddy Charlemagne the God. And he said to Biden, you got to come back and see us. It's a long way till November. We got more questions for you.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And there you go. If you got a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, you ain't just insulted free-minded, open-minded African Americans. And never gets called up. You try that.
He doesn't get called. I will say this, though. The black community gets it. They don't dig him. They don't like him. They don't like him. And I'm getting numbers, we're at 20%, 22%, which, not that I'm proud of that, because it should be 100%. But, if you look at what I've done for criminal justice reform, Obama couldn't get criminal justice reform done. I did prison reform. The small colleges and universities, historically black, what I've done, I got them funded. They were coming back every year, hat in hand, every year begging for money, and I got them taken care of for a 10-year period, all funded, fully funded. What I've done is, and then with Tim Scott, we did the opportunity zones, which is the greatest, most incredible thing for the black community, the African American community, with jobs and everything else. No, I've done more, and I say it, and at first people said, oh, it's too much to say. I said, I've done more for the black community than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. And it's true. Nobody's done what I've done.
Yeah.
But, they don't like Biden. They don't like Biden. No. He did the super predator stuff. He was the super predator king.
Here, listen to this one. Now, this is August 14th, 2012. This is 8 years ago. He's vice president. It's a campaign event. He's talking about Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan here.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
They're going to put you all back in the black audience. Are going to put you all back in chains. 8 years ago. I don't understand why it's even.
Has it been 8 years already?
Fires.
But he's a different guy there. You can hear by the. You can't have a president that's out of it, because I meet with Xi and I meet with Putin. I meet with all of them.
He wasn't out of it there. He knew exactly what he was saying there.
Right.
That's your point.
Right. That's right. He's a different guy. He's out of it. He's in a daze. I look at the things he says. I look at what he says. I look at the way he says it. He's in a daze. And it's not because he's 78 or whatever he is, because I know guys that are 92. Bernie Marcus from Home Depot. He's 100% sharp. But Joe, there's something wrong. We can't have that.
Well, but he made it through the debate. He made it through 90 minutes of that debate without betraying any of the mental limitations, shall we say.
I agree, but he was not able to answer the Russia thing, and he was choking, and he was not able to answer the $1 billion prosecutor thing.
Well, you did kind of bail him out, by the way. We started to fade, and you kept talking at him. I think he was now, Mr. President, some of you tweeted about this. When I saw this blew my mind. It literally blew my mind. This is a Gallup poll found that 56% of the American people say they are better.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life.
It looked as though he had reached out to former White House communications chief. Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says
38 total diagonal
Motors RETURN.
That's okay, but this is better than
the vacancy left by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and finally moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Your first-term record is truly outstanding, and it's still being made. Your record is still being written. You are still president. You are still implementing your agenda, despite this opposition. And I wanted to share this with you, because this guy did not vote for you 4 years ago, and now he can't wait to.
Well, I'm going to get that one. I'm going to have to put that one up pretty soon. But, look, I'm honored by it. And with time, more and more people see the things we've done. I put out lists, and they're pages and pages long. We've done a job, and I'm very honored by it, and I'm very proud of it. We've helped a lot of people. On the pandemic, I was telling you about this medicine. I'm so proud of it. People don't want to write about it, but that's okay. But this is better than the vaccine, and it's going out literally as we speak. We have the U.S. military logistics. They're bringing it out. This is such a big thing, but we have done such a good job on the pandemic. We get zero credit. We fed these governors whose shelves were empty, and our shelves were empty too. I say our cupboard was bare. And we filled it up with all sorts of stuff, and we send it all over the United States and New York. We built him convention centers that they should have used. We sent ships that they should have used instead of putting old people with other people that were sick, and a lot of problems were caused, as you know. But we did such a job. We did such a great job, and made some governors look great. And by the way, when we have our phone calls, we'll have 50 governors. They're all saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Rarely do we have anybody speak up. And when they do, we take care of them. And then they'll go and they'll speak to the press, and they'll say, well, yeah, the president was okay. What we've done for them with the ventilators were an impossible situation. We now build more ventilators by 5 times than anybody else. And we're supplying them to the world. And they're very complicated, expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But we've done a great job.
Well, that's another thing, this massive remobilization of American industry. Yeah.
One of the biggest, I guess the biggest they say since the Second World War. But you know what? This is the biggest of all. If the Regeneron and the Lilly comparable drug. Turns out this is a cure. This is a therapeutic. Call it what you want. I can tell you, it's a cure, and I'm talking to you today because of it. And because I think I could have been a bad victim. I fit certain categories that aren't so great. Okay, and you better be careful too. Okay, but you won't. I'm telling you, this is a total game changer. It's so good. And nobody else would have had it. FDA is approving things in 1 week that used to take 3 years. And that's only because I'm bugging them like crazy. I drive them crazy, I guess, but that's okay. But FDA, Food and Drug Administration, is approving things that Rush would have taken years. And I'm getting them in a matter of weeks and months. And they're great things. But this is the greatest of them all if this works out. And I'm very sure it's going to.
Well, I hope it does. Again, you're writing history with this. Let me venture into another area. It was announced by the Attorney General that his investigator, the attorney looking into the coup run against you, will not have any announcements, any results, before the election. This is disappointing. I cannot tell you.
When was this announced, Rush?
I think I've got the story here in the stack. I thought it was
I think it's terrible.
Fairly recently.
I think it's terrible.
Well, it is, because these are people. This is the biggest political scandal in the history of this country, certainly our lifetimes.
If that's the case, I'm very disappointed. I think it's a terrible thing, and I'll say it to his face.
Here it is. Barr tells Republicans Durham report will not be ready by election. It came out today.
That's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment.
Well, I don't have the words to express my anger. I mean, I'm not saying I'm surprised. I'm angry.
I've had to go through it twice now with elections, and yet they have. See, this is what I mean with the Republicans. They don't play the tough game. They don't play the tough game. If this were the other side, you would have had 25 people in jail for the rest of their lives with what we found.
Oh, if you tried something like this against any of them, heck yes.
Oh, are you kidding me? You would have been 20. Look at me. I had to beat off the phony Mueller report. I had to beat off all this stuff. I had to beat off impeachment. I had to beat off Congress, everything else. They then send it to New York, which is all political. They send it into New York, the same stuff into New York. Have to beat that off. They got New York all over. They don't stop. This is a disgrace. If that just came out, and I purposely tried to stay away from it because they all say it would be better if I'm not involved.
Well, have you declassified everything about this yet?
I fully declassified everything. Everything's been declassified. They have so much information. They didn't need any more than, frankly, Mr. Horowitz, who.
They all better get their soap on the rope ready because they're going to prison.
It was an Obama appointment. He wrote a report on Comey that was so bad. It was so bad. I've never seen anything like it. And they should have gone after him just on that. And McCabe, too. Took $700,000 from Hillary Clinton.
I don't know how these people are still on cable TV lying through their teeth about all of this, still getting paid to carry forth the lie.
If that's the case, and you have to understand, I'm hearing this for the first time, and I said it's impossible. So it's okay for me to have to go through investigations during an election, but for them, we don't want to upset the apple cart.
It wasn't an investigation. It was a hunt.
Republicans don't play the same game.
You didn't do anything. There was never any evidence. This was not an investigation. It was a hunt. You were being hunted. They were trying to plant and create evidence that would be believed, and they failed.
We caught them. We caught them cold, and we have people that don't know how to do anything about it. It's horrible. If that's the case, I have to check that. I find it hard to believe. Because you know what? I went through 2 elections. You don't think that affected 18? I wasn't running in 18, but the whole Russia witch hunt affected the 18 outcome of the election. We lost some congressional seats. People don't say we picked up 2 Senate seats, but we lost something in 18. We lost something. We lost some seats that we probably could have held on to. We went through the same thing, and it was all phony stuff. Nobody said, let's hold it back until after the election. But the Republicans don't play the same game. They don't play the same game. I'd be surprised, and I'd be very disappointed. I'll probably be disappointed because this stuff should have come out a year ago anyway.
Did you expect it to?
Everything they needed a year ago.
Did you expect it to come out by now?
I thought it should have come out 2 years ago. I mean, frankly, as far as I was concerned. Look, it's if they hold it because of the election, I've gone through 2 elections now.
Well, that's what he says. They holding it.
Started investigating me before I even won the election.
But let's all just calm down because we don't know if the story is actually true.
It says
they
here.
Started investigating me when I was coming down the escalator, the beautiful golden escalator, as it goes, with the First Lady. I was under investigation illegally by these thieves and Comey and crooks. We caught them in the act. They were spying on my campaign, and then they went for a coup. Nobody said, well, gee, let's hold off the investigation. But with them, they do. The Republicans don't play it the same way. It's very disappointing.
No, it was frustrating. For the first 6 months of your first term, half the Republicans in the House thought it was true, and that's why they didn't help you move your agenda. But it says right here, this is Axios, by the way, is the news source, and they say that Barr is communicating that his investigator, Durham, is taking his investigation very seriously and is focused on winning prosecutions, which I guess we're to expect scoring points in the media.
Let's let everybody get elected to office, and then let's worry about it. First of all, if we don't win this election, that whole thing's going to end, okay? Mm-hmm. And you just remember that.
As
if we don't win this election, that's another thing I'm fighting for, because these people have to be brought to justice, but they should have been brought to justice before the election. But if we don't win this election, that whole thing is going to be dismissed.
That's another thing. People want to know what they can do, sir. You would not believe the numbers of people who are asking, what can they do besides vote? And voting is big. I mean, I tell people that ask me this, that's the first thing. Just make sure you vote, show up and vote on election day, but vote. It's not insignificant. What else can people do? Because they want to help you. They want to know what they can do.
Keep up the genius, because they're genius. They get it better than these guys that are looking at stuff. I'm telling you, they get it better. The American public gets this better than the so-called people that are looking. You know, when I look at the Times and I look at the Washington Post, fake papers, both of them, and they get Pulitzer Prizes for the Russia investigation, but they were all wrong. There was no collusion. So they get Pulitzer Prizes.
Wasn't a true word in any of those stories.
No, none of it. And the guys that did get it right, they don't get Pulitzer Prizes, and you and I can name 10 of them, okay? You're one of them, but you don't care about Pulitzer Prizes. But the ones that got it, they don't get anything. But just, Rush, take a look at how wrong these people were. And they pretend they know me. Maggie Haberman, all of these people, they know. I have nothing against them. But they don't know me. They don't know me. I haven't seen her. I haven't spoken to her in a year and a half. You take one picture with somebody, it ends up being like the best friends for the rest of your life. Take a picture at the Oval Office with a photographer, with a reporter, and then they write as though you're like you can't live without them. I don't even speak to these people, but look at the bad reporting that they've done. Look how wrong they were about everything. They got Pulitzer Prizes for the Pulitzer organization. Frankly, is a disgrace. They gave Pulitzer Prizes to everybody that shouldn't have gotten them.
Yep.
They were all wrong.
Folks, let me just...
The people that should get the Pulitzer Prizes didn't get them.
I want to back the president up on this, folks. In this story that we're talking about here, the Russian collusion meddling story, do not doubt me, there wasn't a word of truth in any of the stories that were published oftentimes 4 times a day for the first year. There was no truth. When Robert Mueller was handled the file on the day he became the special counsel, it was empty. There was never any evidence. This was not an investigation. There was nothing to investigate. It was a hunt. It was an outrage, and to be awarded a Pulitzer Prize for printing not a single thing that is true is genuinely discrediting to Pulitzer.
Come on. I'm at the is that one?
And I'll have something to say about that, because I'm telling you, we have a cure more than.
Do you think the American people are not aware of this? Do you think they don't know the?
They're totally aware. No, they're totally aware. Even the other side's aware of it. The other side laughs about it. They can't believe they got away with it. You want to know the truth? You know, they're not stupid. They're very smart. The other side laughs about it. It's not like they believe the Russia thing. They don't.
Well, I know, but if they
laugh about it,
if they think they got away with it, then I'm leading up to the American people should be, if they know what happened, so outraged. No way they would vote Democrat. This is outrageous. This is antithetical to everything this country stands for. What happened to you?
We tried to do a takedown of a very legitimately, in fact, beyond, because I was fighting. Little did I know, because I didn't know when they started this investigation, which was long before the presidential, before the race. After I won, they tried to take me out. Before I won, they tried to, it was a fraud. It was the Russian witch hunt.
Well, they were trying to corrupt your transition.
Hey, Rush, you know this better than anybody. And Putin, I guarantee you, says this to everybody. Nobody has been tougher on Russia than I have. I got NATO to pay $410 billion more to protect against Russia. I was the one that exposed Nord Stream, the pipeline going into Germany. I said, wait a minute. You're paying Russia billions of dollars, and we're supposed to protect you from Russia. What kind of a deal is this? I was the one that gave tank busters to Ukraine, and Obama gave them pillows. Remember the pillows? Probably from the Pillow Man on Fox. But Obama gave them pillows and sheets.
Right.
And I gave them tank busters. I gave them money. Obama did. Nobody has been tougher on Russia than I have. Nobody.
Well, Mr. President, I think something the American people need to know is that the Democrats and the media, which is, again, one and the same, have done more with 4 years of lies and misrepresentation, utter outright lies about you supposedly stealing the election from Hillary with the Russians. They have done more, sir. This is important. They have done more to corrupt the integrity and the honor of the presidential election system than Vladimir Putin could have ever hoped to. They have made people doubt. And they're now talking about how this upcoming election, the Russians are in the process of stealing it too. These people are so dishonorable and disreputable, and they need to be made to be held accountable for what they have done to the perception of honesty and integrity in our elections, to the very serious effort they are making to transform this country into something it was never founded to be. But this business of trying to say that you stole the election, that you meddled with the Russians. They did. Hillary did. Hillary came up with this
whole damn thing.
This is something they did, and now they're running around and they're doing more damage to the integrity, the perceived honesty of our electoral system than anything Vladimir Putin could have ever hoped.
She deleted 33,000 emails. She should be in jail for that. I don't even care if they're very highly confidential emails. I don't care what. She deleted. She got a question. She got a statement from Congress, a subpoena from Congress. Everybody. We want your emails, all of Hillary Clinton's emails, 33,000 of them. She deleted them, she acid washed them, and she broke her telephones with a hammer. Okay? Broke them with a hammer. And by the way, speaking of that, and speaking of Bill Barr, 31 people deleted their telephone messages from the Mueller report. Okay? And they said they all made a mistake. Well, they made the same mistake. The chances are 1 billion to 1 that they would have made the same mistake. 31 phones were wiped clean on the Mueller report. I want to see those phones, right? And how do you allow 31 phones? I think it was 19 people, 31 phones. You read about it just recently. They want the phones because they want the information of the phones, because we caught them cheating. And they were all wiped clean, or most of them were wiped clean. We have a couple, believe it or not. But they were wiped clean. They were deleted. Everything was deleted and cleansed. And you're not allowed to do that. They broke the law. Nothing happens to these people.
No.
But they go after General Flynn. They go after Papadopoulos. They go after all these people. It is a disgrace. And one of the reasons I want to win so badly is we got to finish this thing off. And I will be very disappointed if that Axios piece that you read to me is true. I'll be very disappointed, because they've had plenty of time to get this done. Plenty of time.
Absolutely. Sir, why do you think Vice President Biden agreed to go on with the town hall debate number 2. If you can prove you're virus-free on October 15th, and then he retracted the demand, now agrees with the commission to Zoom the debate, wants a virtual debate, and if he doesn't show up, are you going to show up anyway? But what are they trying to pull off here?
I don't think the debates mean that much because, and I'll tell you what, I've done well with debates. I've won, I guess I had 15. I think I won every single poll. I won the poll on this one with him, but I had to be rude because he was lying. He'd get up and he'd just say a series of things that were all lies, so I'd say false, and they'd say I interrupted him. But you know, if you look at the polls, most polls say I won it with him, but it was a very interesting thing. I'd rather let him speak because he's gone, he's mentally gone, and eventually he goes off track and he'll start talking about the birds and the bees. But I couldn't do that because he was saying so many false things. He'd say about the soldiers. He'd say about Social Security, which I'll protect and he won't protect, by the way. He's not going to protect, so he doesn't even know what it is. He'll say about Social Security. He'll say about... And if I didn't say wrong, you know, et cetera, but the one who protected him was Chris Wallace. And by the way, Fox is a whole different ballgame. You know, Fox is a much different thing than it was 4 years ago. Somebody said, what's the biggest difference? I said, the biggest difference is Fox. You take a look at Fox. Of course, we have our great ones, Sean, and this, but, and you know, a number of, but you watch this Fox is a whole different ballgame. And, you know, Paul Ryan is on the board of Fox, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But Fox is a whole different ballgame. Somebody said to me, what's the biggest difference? I said, the biggest difference is Fox is no longer the same. It's a big difference.
The obstacles that keep being placed in front of you are no doubt there. And I've never seen, I've told you this before, I talk about it on this program, I've never seen anything like this before. The things that you have to overcome and surmount each and every day would drive most people out of the business. It drive most people. I don't need this.
I can talk to you,
and I don't know. Again, I'm asking you. You didn't need any of this, sir.
Is bigger, but why I can talk to you, Rush, the great Rush, and you are the great one, and I'm honored to know you. But I can talk to you, and I can spell out all of the dishonesty and everything else, and millions of people are listening right now. I hope you have your all-time biggest audience.
Millions and millions and millions. You would not believe how many millions.
No, but I can talk to you. Now, let's say I say, no, I don't want to do it, or I want to be shy, I don't want to talk, that, you know, too many people, let's not talk. No, you have such an incredible audience, so I can tell them about Fox being a big obstacle. It's a problem. Fox is a problem. When Roger Ailes ran Fox, I mean, Roger had a very strong point of view. It's totally gone. And I think it's influenced by Paul Ryan. He's on the board. I can't believe it. Here's a guy who failed as Speaker. Do you know that Nancy Pelosi issues a subpoena like it's cookies, right? Everything you do. Did you make a phone call 12 years ago? Oh, issue a subpoena. You couldn't get a subpoena out of Paul when we have great guys. I mean, we have Jim Jordan and these guys. They're so fantastic.
They're doing great jobs. There's no question. But how do you have no choice? You have to deal with it. So I said Fox is different than they were 4 years ago, but you still have to deal with it. I deal with them. But they've gone a very different path. It's a much different group. They have guys on there that are so bad. They have people, I call them the twins. There's Chris Hahn and they just hired a bunch of Democrats so they can be fair.
No, he works for Schumer. They're Schumer people.
Yeah.
How about when they hired Donna Brazile, who gave Hillary the questions to the debate? Okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Who got fired? By the way, Donna Brazile got fired from CNN, and then Fox hires her. Got no credibility. It's not like she's great entertainment. It's not even good entertainment.
I know this unfairness never ends. It never ends. It's our way of life. It's something we have to deal with, and it's maddening.
But when they do that, when they put somebody like a Donna Brazile, not that she's effective, she's not effective.
No, but you are. See, you are. That's the difference. That's the difference. You are the one. You think they're driving you crazy. You have no idea what you're doing to them. You're driving them insane, sir. They can't touch you.
Fox should grab it, and they should say, hey, we got the president, and we're going to defend our president. But they're not. They're going the way of CNN, and they're going the way of MSDNC, and it's a shame. I mean, it's a shame. When I see it, I watch it. I look at the people they hire. I mean, I could tell you some of the anchors. They're so bad. And at the same time, Fox and Friends is terrific in the morning.
Right.
You know, they're good.
Well, you are a TV.
Periscope really sucks, guys. Obviously, it would freeze.
And I'll have something to say about that because
I don't know if you've seen this, but the NBA has decided, NBA commissioner, they're going to pull their Black Lives Matter messaging next year. No longer going to be on the uniforms, no longer going to be on the basketball court. They're no longer going to. And I wonder why that is, Mr. President.
because their ratings have died.
Oh,
Nobody
I wouldn't have
watches
known.
it. I haven't watched a basketball game, and I helped them get open. I haven't watched a basketball game.
You tried to help them. You tried to help the NFL.
I tried to help the NFL, and then Roger, nice guy, Goodell, in his basement wearing a very tight blue T-shirt, you know, and he's not meant for it, nor am I, nor are you. It's just one of those things, you know, at a certain age you put on a tie, right? But what happens is he brought it up again. I said to him, I thought I taught you a lesson 2 years ago about standing for the flag. Their ratings went down the tubes. And now you look at everybody with their hands in the air, and they're kneeling, and I just don't have the same interest.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks are edging.
It's a term that sows division between blacks and whites.
Sleepland, November.
Reimagined. Capital One. What's
okay? And I said, wow. And if you would have told me that was going to go mainstream, but it never did go mainstream.
Well, I don't know. You know, Mr. President, that's another thing. If you go back 9/11, just 19 years ago, not that long ago, this to me is a really sobering thing to realize. Not that long ago, the police, firemen, first responders were the heroes in our country. Go back after 9/11, you had athletes carrying the American flag on the field.
Absolute heroes.
And now look what's happened in 15 to 19 years. Look what the left has done. Now we want to defund the police. Now the police are murdering pigs and so forth in 15 years. It's a sign of how successful these people have been. They used to be heroes. Everybody wanted to be with the police. Everybody wanted to join them on. You remember when George W. Bush threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium, Rudy is wearing the NYPD cap. I mean, the cops were the toasts of town. They went into the buildings trying to save people. And it's to see what the Democrat Party has done to the police and their reputation,
it's
image.
The liberal Democrats, radical liberal Democrats. Look, New York, Rudy was a great mayor. Rudy was our greatest mayor by far. He did things that were incredible and brought back New York. But it was easier in a way because the police had total respect. There was crime and everything, but the police were the police. When they dumped water a year ago on the policeman's head and he didn't do anything about it, like turn around and slug the guy, when they did that, I don't know if you remember New York's Finest. New York's Finest, these are great police. You know, I got endorsed by New York's Finest 1 month ago. And it's the first time in the history of New York City that they've endorsed a president.
A lot of police organizations have endorsed you now.
Everybody.
All over the country.
I don't think anybody. In fact, I asked Biden at the debate. And, of course, Chris Wallace cut it off. Didn't think it was appropriate. I said, name one police organization that endorsed you, Joe. Then I said, say law and order, Joe. Just law and order. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, why wouldn't he do that? I mean, what's so hard for law and order? How hard is that?
He wouldn't do it. Then I think he said law and order and safety. You know, I said, no, just law and order. Law and order means safety. You don't have to add the word safety. You know, that's a little net. Let me tell you, if he got in, this country is going to hell. This country is going to go to hell.
Well,
like you've never seen. And you'll end up in a depression, the likes of which you haven't seen since 1929.
Okay, the people are asking, when you say that, why would they want this? Why would the Democrats want to take this country into a recession and have it be so bad economically? Why would they want to do that?
Your taxes are going up, your regulations. You know, I did, in the biggest tax cuts in history, bigger than Reagan's tax cuts, I did something that was more important. I cut regulations that you couldn't build a highway in less than 10 years. I mean, it would take you 10 years to get approvals, and some much longer than that. One was 21 years, and they ended up not getting it. You couldn't get anything done. And I cut regulations to a level that now you can get things done or not done in 1 year. In other words, it may get disapproved because it's not safe or environmentally good or, a lot of good reasons.
Right.
But I cut regulations from 19 years to 1 year. I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. People had to go through the same agency 14 different times.
Right, and once again, you have to be the one to tell the story.
I have to be the one. Yeah, nobody else seems to be able to tell it properly.
By the way, what's the status of the stimulus package now, the COVID stimulus package?
So I'd like to see it happen because it wasn't, look, a lot of people are being hurt because of China. It wasn't these people's fault. I would like to see a bigger stimulus package, frankly, than either the Democrats or the Republicans are offering. I'm going in the exact opposite now, okay? I mean, I'm telling you this. I'm telling you something I don't tell anybody else because maybe it helps or maybe it hurts negotiations. I would like to see a bigger package. I'd like to see money going to people. It was not their fault that China sent in the plague. It wasn't their fault. And China's going to pay a big price. China was going to catch us in 2019. If you look back 15, 20 years ago, everybody said by 2019, China will beat us. I was beating them so badly. We were doubling up. We were doing great until the plague came in, and we're still beating them badly. We'll still be. If you have a smart guy at top, you'll always beat them. They're paying us billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. People don't realize when I made the deal, they're paying billions of dollars. I gave
no, they don't, and people don't know what that means. They don't know. How does that benefit them? That China's paying billions and billions in tariffs.
Billions of dollars. Well, they devalue their currency and they make it impossible to compete because they devalue their currency. They're currency manipulators, and they devalue their currency, and therefore the dollar. They're using dollars of a different value, and it makes it very easy for them to compete. Whereas we don't do that. We don't play games like that. Some people say we should. I don't have a viewpoint, but they devalue their currency and they do all sorts of things. And what they do in the World Trade Organization, we just won a case, $7.5 billion. First time we've won a case in a long time. I said, look, I'm going to get out of the World Trade Organization if I have to, just like I got out of the World Health. So we were paying $500 million a year in World Health. China's paying $39 million a year in World Health. I say, why are they paying? They're a bigger country. Why are they paying so much less? I asked these, little stupid questions like that. Nobody could give me an answer. And yet they dominate the World Health, okay? They dominate World Health. And World Health, when they did this horrible thing to us, World Health did nothing whatsoever to help us. We're at $500 million a year, so I terminated the deal.
Well, they're in the tank. They're in the tank for the
totally
shotgun.
In the tank.
So I got to make an observation here,
about
sir.
World trade. By the way, same thing about world trade. Do you know in world trade, China is considered a developing nation? If you're a developing nation, you get tremendous advantages in the World Trade Organization.
You get your hand in the back pocket of the United States Treasury is what you get.
100%. And I ended that. I said, I'm not going to accept that they're a developing nation. I wouldn't say China's in love with me, by the way. China is dying. Here's what will happen. Just a couple of predictions. If I win, we'll have a great deal with Iran within 1 month. They're dying to have me lose, but if I win...
A great deal on what?
No nuclear weapons.
No nuclear weapons.
Don't forget, look at what's happened to terrorism. Iran was a very wealthy nation, given $150 billion plus $1.8 billion in cash by Obama. A very wealthy nation, and now they're a very poor nation. And the terrorist organizations, I knock on wood as I say it, because it's easier to start something, but they're not fighting like they used to. You know why they have no money? Because Iran is bust. Iran is bust because of me, because of sanctions and other things. And the whole picture of terror, you don't see the terror. Now, I hate to say it on an important show like this, but I'll say it. You don't see the terror the way you used to see the terror. And they know if they do anything against us, they'll pay 1,000-fold problem. They're going to have 1,000-fold difference because they know we are going to do things to you that have never been done before. And they understand that. But here's the thing. They're no longer rich, and they're not giving out hundreds of millions of dollars to Hamas and all these other groups that caused all the problem. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody brings that out. When was the last time you saw an attack?
I hear the frustration in your voice. I need to make an observation here for the American people. We've now been chatting with the president for an hour, and excuse me, an hour and 42 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We have not had a commercial break. I would thus have to say the president's status with COVID-19 is pretty solid. The second thing that I would say is that not once during the hour and 42 minutes has the president been stumped. Has he not known what he wanted to say? Sir, you give the media in this country more access than any president ever. That's not even a contest. I think you've done something brilliant too when you have your little press gaggles out on your way to Marine One. The camera's on you, not them. You look like you're actually conducting an orchestra as you point to various members of the media when it's their turn. You're conducting a symphony, and everybody hears them screaming their questions at you like a bunch of 6-year-olds, and you answer them. Every question you're asked, you answer. You don't take a pass on anything. And you don't run away from anything. You don't hide from anything. And you'll meet them wherever they happen to be. If you're able to, you will. And I think people need to keep this in mind in terms of a chief executive who is accessible to the American people and wants the American people to know what he's doing and what he's thinking. There's no deception here. You have somebody... I don't want to embarrass you here, but you have somebody who thinks this country is great. You have somebody that loves this country, perhaps in ways that many people in politics in the past don't, because their view of what America is a nation among many in the world. President Trump believes in America first, and for this he's hated. For this he's criticized. America first. There's nothing wrong with America first because America's the good guys. We are the good guys in the world. We are the solution to the world's problems. You have a man here who believes this, who believes your country holds the secret and holds the answer to life improving for citizens and human beings all over this planet. That's the objective that he has, including for people that live in this country. And can you imagine folks being hated and reviled for this? And yet he is. He's hated and reviled for loving America, for believing that America is good. His opponents think America's racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic. Hell, we may as well still be a slave state as far as they're concerned. It's outrageous how they've poisoned the minds of our young people and got our young people hating their own country. Donald Trump has been your arrival on the scene has been providential, I believe, sir. I think you are the one person who has the ability to delay, stave off, stop the left from this inexorable march of theirs into changing this country and into things the American people that aren't paying attention have no idea.
Sorry, my chat is down on screen.
What's in store for them if they win?
Well, Rush, I appreciate that very much. It's an honor.
I mean it, bottom of my heart, sir.
I know you do. And this is the most important election that we've ever had. And I used to say 16. I don't even get into that anymore. That's over. This is the most important election that this country has ever had on so many different fronts. There's never been anything like it. We will go the way of failed nations all over Latin America, South America. We will go the way of failure like nobody's ever seen and on a scale like nobody's ever seen it. We've been taken advantage of by every nation in the world, including our friends. Our friends sometimes are worse than our enemies. Mm-hmm. We are, what I've done with NATO. We were taking care of virtually 100% of the military needs of Europe, guarding them from Russia. At the same time, they were taking advantage of us on trade, and in many ways, they were worse than China. Europe was worse to us on trade than China was. I mean, and I changed so many things. But, then they say, in Germany, they don't like Trump as much as they like Obama. Well, of course they shouldn't like me, because Germany was taking advantage of us like Few countries took advantage
Well, yeah,
of
what
it.
was Angela Merkel doing making a deal with Russia on that natural gas pipeline? You made that point at NATO. She should have been buying it from us.
Nobody even knew about that pipeline until I brought it up. I said, why are you paying Russia billions of dollars and we're protecting you? Tell me, what kind of a deal is this? We're protecting you, but you're giving Russia every month billions of dollars.
What did she say?
Energy. She smiles because she's a very smart one. She knows it. There's no way she can answer the question. I say, you don't have to answer the question, Angela. I like Angela. I get along with her, believe it or not, quite well. But, she's a player. And I said, Angela, don't answer the question because I don't want to embarrass you. There's no way she can answer the question because she gets away with it. That's why. She's a very smart, cunning person. But I caught him. Hey, Rush, I got them to pay $130 billion going to $410 billion more each year against Russia. Now, I get along with Putin. I like Putin. Putin possibly likes me, but I guarantee you one thing, he would have much rather seen crooked Hillary, and I guarantee he'd rather see Biden because Biden is slow. Biden is not equipped to be president. He never was at his best day, but he is not equipped now. It's no longer prime time, and not because he's 78. Because, frankly, at 78, as we said before, I know the sharpest people, they're 85, they're 80. It's not an age, now they're all saying, oh, it's 78. It's not because he's 78. There's something wrong with him, okay? And we can be nice about it.
Well, they know that. That's why they're angling to get Kamala the gig.
Nobody wants to say it. But he can't. His thoughts are bad. Here's a guy. You talk about access to the press. I've never seen this before, and I've watched a lot, and I don't know how he gets away. You saw that NBC joke the other night where it's like a child, like you're asking a child questions. They don't talk to me that way. When you look at the questions that he gets, and then he reads the answers off a computer. Now, that means that these supposedly legitimate, but they're not legitimate. You know that better than I do. These news organizations are giving him questions. They're putting them in a computer. He's reading the answers off a computer. I never heard of that before. I've never done that. Can you imagine? Give me the questions, and I'm going to give you an answer off a computer. He's reading the answers off a computer a lot of times. And if he doesn't do that, he's all mixed up and befuddled. And Chris Wallace saved him 3 times the other night. I mean, he was getting ready to crack, and Chris Wallace, who was terrible, by the way, who I think really embarrassed himself, and Fox the other night, but Chris Wallace saved him. But can you imagine, you're getting the answers to...
Now, I didn't hear that before. He said he was reading the answers off the computer. Context.
Questions, and you're getting the questions themselves, and you're reading the answers.
Well, they were doing that for Hillary, too. That's how they rigged the game for the Democrats. So look, I got another Biden soundbite here for you.
One thing I'll say, Hillary was much smarter. Hillary's a much smarter person. Look, Hillary was smart.
I don't agree with that, but,
I understand. But Hillary was, Hillary didn't need to have answers read. She could answer a question. Joe cannot answer a question. Joe, they can answer. They ask him a question, a very simple question, and he's reading it off a computer. He's saying, "Move the computer. Move it. Bring it closer. Bring it." He couldn't see it.
Yeah,
bring it closer on a question that anybody could answer. I mean, it's a very simple question. We can't have this. We could be nice. And maybe I'll lose because they'll say I'm not a nice person. I think I am a nice person. I help people. I like to help people. But we can't have this as our president. We really can't, Rush.
Here's another Biden soundbite for you to react to. This June 7th. Now, this is all the way back 2006. This is 14 years ago. Now, this tells you who the guy is. This is before any of whatever the aging problems that have befallen Vice President Biden. This is 2006, so 14 years ago, Manchester, New Hampshire.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. And I'm not joking.
Now, you and I say that, and we are roasted and excoriated. He says that, that's just old Joe.
You're right. We would be, but still, that's a much different man talking there than you see now.
Yeah, that's
different man.
Exactly right. Ballots. We got a dwindling time here. Virginia Beach, Virginia police just confirmed that undelivered mail was found. This story is it might be yesterday or the day before. Undelivered mail was found this afternoon in a construction dumpster in the Pungo section of Virginia Beach. The man who found it estimates 70 to 80 pounds of mail. USPS, the Postal Service, is investigating. And then we have a companion story. Mail-in ballots in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania.
And twice, election boxes or ballot boxes were left unlocked in Lansing, Michigan.
Have been delayed. Voters are confused and frustrated. 58,000 mail-in ballots. One county, sir, in one state. Extrapolate that to the entire state. 58,000 mail-in ballots, or as the Democrats see it, mail-in fraud. That's another thing that people wanted. What can be done about this?
Well, look, absentee ballots where you send in for your ballot. You know, I have an absentee ballot in Florida. You send in and you have to request it, and they
have to show ID to get one of those.
That's
you don't for a mail-in.
It's not easy, but it's okay. You know, and some people just can't do it, but they send it. That's called absentee. I call it a solicited ballot. I like that term better. You solicit, and they send it, and you fix it, and you send it back in. Okay, that's one thing. But they're sending out millions and millions of ballots. Are they sending them to all Democrats?
Yes.
Who are they sending them to? Where are they going? You know, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to be the second biggest political scandal in history. The first biggest is the Russian crap that we've been going through for 3.5 years. That's the biggest. To me, that's the biggest scandal, biggest political scandal in history.
It is.
What we've been going through. And now they delay it? You tell me they delay it? That's going to be my first phone call, by the way.
Delay the announcement of whatever's... Yes.
I think it's just a disgrace if that's the case. It's a disgrace, and I'll say it to anybody who wants to say it. That's a disgrace. But the biggest scandal of all time is that this will be the second biggest scandal. Every day, I'm seeing accounts of ballots that are thrown away. You saw the military ballots that were thrown away with my name on it the other day. Every day you see scandal about these millions of ballots that's being sent out. It's the single biggest risk in this election.
See, if this kind of stuff were happening to me, if I were a candidate, I'd have my people on this so fast. What are you doing about it?
We have many lawyers, and we've actually been winning many cases. How about where they have the ballots counted, and the ballots have to be in by November 3rd, Election Day, but they don't have to be counted for 2 weeks later? Well, that means you're never going to know who won the election. You know, it's going to be 2 weeks later. I want to see on November 3rd who won the election. So do you. You want to turn on your television like we have for the last 50 years and find out who won the election, right? You don't want to say, oh, gee, they have 2 weeks to count their ballots. And then what happens is all sorts of ballots start showing up miraculously. We're watching it very closely, and we're winning a lot of cases, Russia. You don't see it too much. We just won a big case in North Carolina. We just won a big case in Pennsylvania, I think. We're going to win. We're winning a lot of cases. Rhode Island won a big case where the ballots have to be done in a certain way. But the best way is to get up. Now, I tell you what, our people, your people, my people, Republican people, they get out, and they're all my people as far as everyone's my people. But Republicans tend to get out and vote. And that's what they should do. Early voting, but at a machine. Early voting or voting on November 3rd.
That's right.
And wait till you see the kind of love that's going to be expressed the day those polls open. The day those machines open, wait till you see. But the Democrats are sending in 80% of theirs by ballot. Now, one thing we've noticed from what I hear and from what I'm reading is a lot of the ballots, all they're doing is taking from people that would have voted in the first place. They're not a lot of new voters. You know, we have many more registered voters than we've picked up a lot of voters, the Republicans. I think you're going to see a very, very big explosion when those polls open up, Rush. But a large percentage, like 80% of the Republicans want to vote. They want to actually go to a poll and vote.
Yeah.
Whereas it's almost the opposite, for whatever reason, with the Democrats. I think you're going to see a very big explosion of voting.
Well, the Democrats need a little yellow bus showing up, picking them up, taking them to the polls, getting there on their own.
They do. Right. And then they do the harvesting thing, which is terrible, which is illegal in many places, even with the laws that are being passed, where they go around and they start picking up everybody's votes. You know, we have a big enthusiasm gap. Our gap is so much more enthusiastic, you know, like 35 points. There's never been a gap of enthusiasm between, let's say, me and him. that there is. Look at the boat shows. I mean, thousands of boats in the ocean and in the lakes. And
that's another thing. You know, that Gallup poll that shows 56% of the American people think they're better off now than they were 4 years ago, even in the midst of the pandemic.
Right.
There's another part of that poll when they ask people after who do you think's going to win and how do you think when they ask people, who do you think is actually going to be elected president? You are the
by a lot,
by absolute lot. And that poll, that's never been wrong, by the way, sir. That question has never been wrong.
They say, who is your neighbor going to vote for?
Yeah,
and
exactly. Who do you think your neighbor is going to vote? Exactly.
And they know their neighbors. No, because people don't want to get involved. I mean, even the signs. We have signs all over the place. We have signs in states, but they steal the signs. People steal the signs, and they're stealing. It's a well-known thing. They're stealing the signs. Our enthusiasm is far greater than it was 4 years ago. Far greater, because they love the job we're doing, and they know this pandemic was a horrible thing that happened to us. It should have never been allowed to happen by China. China's going to pay a big price. And it's one of those things, but it happened. And we've done a great job on it. We got no credit. I'll tell you what, if this turns out to be right, that this medicine is going to make people better, that's a game changer like nobody's ever seen before, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen, Rish.
Mr. President, thank you. You 2 hours here. I know you've got a jam-packed day left on your schedule.
That's true. True, but it's an honor. It's an honor to be with you for 2 hours. You have no idea. It's a great honor.
Well, it's great to have you here, and I know you got Brother Levin tonight. You're doing his show tonight, and that's going to be kick-ass. So we appreciate it, sir. We love you, and I meant everything I said today. You are the person standing in the way. You are the one that true American patriots have invested their hopes for their future and their kids' future in. You are the person they are depending on to stave off this attack on our country that is coming from inside. It's coming from inside our country as opposed to outside, although that's happening too.
It is largely, and you know what I say oftentimes when people say that? I have no choice. I have to do it. I have no choice, and that's what I'm doing. And
best of luck to you, sir. Thank you so much.
You've been
Well, sorry for the technical difficulties that the damn stream went off again. It really sucks. What I could do is replay this at another time where there will be no interruptions. So, in a better, maybe, venue of it. So, he also said something about Iran. He says, Iran better not fuck with us. He literally said it. It was great, raw, and they should have kept it in there. Because they better not fuck with us. Because we will fuck them up. And they know it. I have a lot of stuff still to get to because of the technical difficulties. I will save that for another time. It might be a little bit past what these interviews were, but I will do my best to get it to you because it's stuff that you may want to know or have not heard of. So thank you very much for joining. It's a pleasure as always. God bless you all. Thank you for the lemons. I will open up the chest for everybody in D Live. Next time, please join in Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, D Live, and YouTube, depending on whether they want to be decks. So God bless the President of the United States, Vice President, and the First Family in general. God bless military and law enforcement. Please say thank you next time. There you go, Becca and who me got 34 and 19 lemons. God bless the legit good people at the FBI and CIA. There's still people there who want to do the right thing and help our country and to save it. So let's give them a little bit of a break, would we? We still got some bad apples, as I said before, but the president is working to get them out. And again, there are very good people who work very hard and put their lives on the line, and that includes the Secret Service. God bless them as well. God bless the first responders and Border Patrol and the Coast Guard. Thank you very much for joining. I really do appreciate all of you and those who came back especially. I have no idea what happened, but shit happens, you know. So I will see you very soon. Remember, I will be on Sunday night at 10:30 for a regular show, which will be Breadmaker. She will be joining me once again. Always a good time with all the guests. They're very nice, great people. And I will be on probably Speakeasy tomorrow night. Before that, you have Phil D'Angelo and Doc Martin for Promises Kept. So everybody take care. Have a great night and have a good start to the weekend.